Story time about how my boyfriend was seeing another girl behind my back. So a little background information, I was living with my dad and I had just started a new school and I became really good friends with this group of kids. And in our friend group, there was this boy who we're going to call Alex. And him and I hit it off like right away. We had been talking for 2 months. And by the way, during this whole time, his friends were telling me how much he loved me and how much he wanted to be with me. So eventually him and I started dating. And of course, like any other tragic love story, I had to move far away because I had to go live with my mom, blah, 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 blah. But since I would visit my dad for the holidays, him and I would still be able to see each other sometimes, which is pretty good for a long distance relationship, especially when you're in school. So I told him about how I had to move. And he was really sad, but he said that I can trust him. Red flag number 1, because why would you say that in the first place? There should be no reason on why I have to, quote, trust you to be loyal when I'm away. Like for part 2. Part 2 about how my boyfriend was seeing another girl behind my back. So like I said, I told him that we were going to have to do long distance and he was sad, but then he said that he could trust me. And like I said before, why would I have to trust you? Because you should just be loyal in general, duh. So I'm like, hey, I want to spend time with you before I leave. Can we hang out? And he was like, oh, sorry, I have plans, but we can hang out later tonight. So I was like, okay, whatever. And a few hours go by. I never get a text from him or a call, nothing. So I text him and he's like, sorry, I forgot. So I'm really sad right now, but I forgave him. Quick note here, ladies, if he wanted to, he would have canceled his plans if he really wanted to see you. Anyway, so I move and fast forward 2 to 3 weeks. And Alex and I literally have only been texting, no calls, nothing like that. So I'm talking to one of his friends and one of his friends tells me that he's been talking to this other girl. And he's been telling everybody that he's been wanting to break up with me for weeks because he wants to date her instead, like for part 3. Part 3 about how my boyfriend was seeing another girl behind my back. So like I said, I was talking to his friend and his friend said that he's been talking to this girl for 2 to 3 weeks about the time that I've been gone. And he's been telling everybody about how he wants to break up with me for her. So of course I'm sad and crying and I confront him and he says, oh, she's just a friend, blah, blah, blah. So I press the issue and then he tells me that he lost feelings for me weeks ago. And that the reason why he didn't tell me was because he didn't want to hurt my feelings. Yet he led me on for 2 to 3 weeks. Like, how does that work, Alex? How? Anyway, so I blocked him because there's no way that I'm going to keep talking to a guy that was making fun of me with his friends and telling everybody around him that he wanted to break up with me. That's embarrassing.
My cousin in high school recently turned 18. She doesn't have a car and during her birthday weekend thought her parents were going to buy her one. When they didn't, she was pretty upset. I should note that I'm not very close with my cousin or the rest of my extended family for that matter. Anyways, my cousin texts me on the Friday before her birthday asking if she can take my car to the mall and then for an out-of-town road trip with her friends over the weekend. I tell her no. She begs and pleads with me, but I tell her no again. My car is for me to drive and for me only. If she wants her own car, she can save up and buy one. She calls me a bitch and says that I ruined her birthday and that she's embarrassed because her friends think she got a car for her birthday and she doesn't have one. I don't respond to her and think nothing of it. I wake up on Saturday morning to find that my car has been egged and TP'd. And since the weather was warm outside, the raw egg baked into my car along with the dried up toilet paper destroying the paint. I check my security cameras and I find my cousin and a bunch of her stupid friends vandalizing my car. I obviously press charges and my cousin is in legal trouble. Her and her parents are pissed off at me for pressing charges, saying she's just a kid and she's going through a phase. Saying things like I'm almost 30 and I don't remember what it was like at that age. Do you think I took it too far?
If you really pay attention, you will realize that men tell on themselves all the time. This is how I found out I was getting cheated on. I was in a long distance relationship with this guy who was my boyfriend at the time, definitely an ex now, and we planned to go on a cruise together, so we flew out separately from our cities. But he wound up missing his flight because he bleached his hair to a crisp, like it was breaking off. Luckily, he made his flight the next day and we were able to board our cruise. The cruise was so much fun. I was so sad when the cruise was over, but of course, all good things come to an end and we had to get back to reality and fly back home to our respective states. I spent my entire flight looking through all of our pictures we took together and I was just really sad to be going home without him. As we were descending, I got a load of text from him and I instantly knew that something was off. He was basically freaking out saying that some crazy girl was going to DM me and make all these claims, but none of them are true. And at this point, Instagram was that girl, and I was getting hundreds of messages a day. My Wi-Fi kept on cutting in and out while I was searching for this DM, but I finally found it. The girl was basically saying that she had been seeing my ex and that they were just together, and as a matter of fact, he asked her to pick him up from the airport that evening. She said that she turned him down because she found out about me and that he had a girlfriend. But I was really skeptical of her claims because my ex had a tendency to post everything like as he was doing it, so everybody knew his business. Of course, I DM'd her back asking for proof, and she sent me screenshots and a bunch of other things, but of course I was still in denial because I really wanted to believe my man over a stranger. My ex was so embarrassed that he fried his hair. That was the one thing that he did not put on social media. Like, he didn't want anybody to know. So when she mentioned that she was with him the day he missed his flight, helping him with his hair and putting coconut oil in it, I knew that she was telling the truth. This man came in the morning of our cruise reeking like coconut oil, and I even asked him, like, how do you know about coconut oil? And he was like, oh, my barber told me to use it. And I swear to you, I would have never seen that DM if he did not tell me about it. He was trying to get ahead of the game, but instead he played himself in the worst way possible. Moral of the story is, when men tell on themselves, believe them the first time.
Am I wrong for refusing to make a wedding cake for my ex-husband? My ex-husband and I were married for almost 20 years until he confessed his feelings for my now ex-best friend at the time, Alex, 48 female. The two of them worked at the same company and would spend time together daily. They ended up developing feelings for each other and were sneaking around for almost 2 years. He left me and she left her husband. He also left me and my kids with nothing. My ex-husband and I have 2 kids together, 22 male and 20 female, that are both off at school now. Ex-husband and I are no contact, and my kids want nothing to do with him or Alex. I opened up my own bakery 3 years ago, and the business has been great, as well as the money. We are very popular in my city and do a lot of custom orders for events like baby showers, gender reveals, birthdays, and most importantly, weddings. A few days ago, I'm at work and we get an order for a wedding cake. 2-layer cake, red velvet cake, vanilla buttercream frosting, and a sign that says, "Congratulations, X name and Alex." I checked the email address to be completely sure, and sure enough, it's Alex's email address. The absolute audacity. I've tried to be the bigger person throughout my entire divorce with my ex, but this was taking it too far. There's hundreds of other bakeries in the area and they choose mine? So I respond back to the order, canceling it, giving some BS excuse like, "We're very busy right now with orders. The order you have is unfortunately canceled." What does she do? A couple of hours later, the order is resubmitted under a different email address. She must think I'm stupid. So I decline the order again. I then get a call at my bakery from Alex telling me to stop canceling her orders, that business is business, and that I need to get over myself and stop being petty. I refused and hung up on her. I was then bombarded with calls on my personal cell and to the bakery from Alex, my ex-mother-in-law, etc. They were all fuming and demanded that I put the issue aside and treat them as regular customers. Alex was sending me nasty text messages saying how I've taken this too far and that she expected me to be the bigger person and make the cake, since she's always been a fan of my cakes and that they're the best in the city. Which is true. They are the best and very popular. I told them the cake rocks and that both my ex-husband and Alex have some audacity trying to order a cake from my business out of all the places after all that they put me through. My kids are both on my side. My mom thinks I should have been the bigger person and made the cake. Did I take it too far?